tuning in now or after the live. I greatly appreciate you. Unfortunately, the live was cut off by YouTube for some reason. So I wanted to come back on. Make sure you hit that like button if you're tuning in and share this on social media as the Fed rate hike decision looms here. We're going to see how XRP and cryptocurrency reacts. We're going to see if, in fact, they keep rates the same or lower them, or if they hike them. I don't expect them to hike them. The market's pricing in at least staying the same or possibly lowering rates, but I don't think they would even do that. I think more staying pat would be what we're going to see, but we're going to see if we start getting a pump or dump here as we await the news. So good mid-afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I appreciate everybody who's tuning in, and whether you're watching this now or after the live. I understand that most people probably won't see this now because it restarted, but at least it'll be here after the live gets out. So I'm going to let everybody listen to this as they keep rates the same.
Next year, officials left the overnight rate unchanged at 5.25% to 5.5%, but they essentially confirm that's it. The money quote from the statement gets a one-word addition in determining the extent of any additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation to 2%. The dot plot, meanwhile, sees 75 basis points of cuts next year, one more move than they saw in September. The dispersion is wide, however, with 8 seeing fewer than those 3 cuts, 5 seeing more than 3. In 2025, they see an additional 4 rate cuts, 1 down from September, and 2 more in 2026. The longer-run neutral rate remains at 2.5%. Their move comes as they significantly lower their median headline inflation forecast this year to 2.8%. As the statement notes, inflation has eased over the past year, but remains elevated. In the median forecast, it falls further in 2024 to 2.4%, 2.1% in 2025, and 2% finally in 2026. Core PCE inflation, 3.2% this year, down from September's forecast of 3.7%. It keeps falling, hitting 2% also in 2026. The statement says, quote, growth of economic activity has slowed from its strong pace in the third quarter, but they still revised their median forecast for GDP growth this year significantly to 2.6% from 2.1% in September. It falls to just 1.4% next year. Potential growth in the longer run is seen at 1.8%. No change in their unemployment forecast of 3.8% this year, which implies the jobless rate moves up in December because it's 3.7% right now. The next 3 years, the median unemployment rate will come in at 4.1%.
Welcome in, Devin. Welcome in, Zanda. I appreciate everybody who decided to come back. It stopped the live, so please just hit that like button. I'm not going to interrupt, but we'll see XRP's reaction. But Fed stays the same, and like we said, if they stay the same or lower, it could make it to where we could have a liquidity pull the other direction here. And even if we're going to the bottom part, is this enough to push XRP to 65 here?
The decision, guys, again, unanimous.
Mike McKee, thank you, sir. Let's make it very simple. The 2024 dot, implying 3 cuts next year from this Federal Reserve. It doesn't meet the market, but it closes the gap and endorses the direction of travel over the last 4 to 6 weeks. In the bond market, this is what's falling right now. Yields and falling hard. We're down 19, call it 20 basis points.
What did we talk about yesterday, everybody? DXY would fall if it stayed the same or lowered. Gold, precious metals would rise. But it could be fake outs. We don't know what's going to happen here. But this is why you have to watch very closely on all of your commodities, because right now we're coming to the dot crosses. So these could be the easy way to trap liquidity to get that resistance. Same thing with crypto. We have to watch very closely with XRP. And I'm going to hit play because I want to hear this without talking, but I want to run down the scenario. XRP would have to get above this level. So if you're longing it right now at 62.20, look to sell unless it gets on top of it and pushes, because then you could have a nice W reversal. And that's what you'd be playing for, obviously, if you're going long in a futures trade. If you're holding and you're accumulating, this is what you want to see. Big volatility means big money moving in the market, and that's exactly what you want to see for volatile swings. So don't let your emotions dictate things, but we must get above right now for XRP on one of these candles and hold 623 right now. So pay attention to that. Now I'm done. Watch. Thank you all so much for watching it with me.
At the front end of the curve on a 2-year, 4.53, on a 10-year, down 13 at 4.07%. Once you figure out where the bond market is, take a guess where the FX market is. The dollar looks a little something like this. Against the euro at the moment, weaker. The euro stronger, 108.45. And if you're looking at equities, we endorse a move higher, up by 0.5% this morning on the S&P 500, up again this afternoon on the Nasdaq by 0.4%. Lisa, the rally moves on.
We could end up getting a sub 4% 10-year yield by the end of this trading session as people parse through this. To me,
what did we talk about yesterday? Wouldn't be surprised if sub 4% right after this. It's going exactly to plan now. If I'm sorry, I won't keep talking, but risk assets now should come into fruition here. See how the DXY continues to act and see what happens in the precious metal market.
This is unequivocally dovish, that they endorse the Fed's idea, that the market's idea of rate cuts and then some, really speaks to a question of, is there going to be cleanup act on aisle one, or is this going to be Fed Chair Powell saying, we're just responding to the data in front of us and it looks pretty good?
Well, we talk about, Tom, the risk, the potential of being whipsawed by Chairman Powell in about 27 minutes' time. The early take, and we'll see if it sticks, the early take is this. Ultimately, you're looking for 3 cuts next year. Our 4 or 5 cuts no longer sounds that ridiculous. Now you come closer and closer to where we were before.
No hedging here. I was going back and forth with a professor at the University of Cambridge, and 2 standard deviations down on 10-year yield. John, we almost came to it. We came very, very close to it. 4.08%, 4.07, and 4.6. We'll have to see what plays out with the press conference, but this is frankly more than we expected. We also expect wonderful conversation at this moment with Diane Swank. She's chief economist at KPN.
Please make sure to hit that like button. Only 14 likes with everybody watching. Please hit that like button. If you don't want to hit the like button, always send a YouTube super chat or join Tom's Army. But really, just hit that like button. Seriously, that would really help push this content.
Diane, you know the interest space is the litmus paper of our economic and our Fed system. Are we seeing a constructive reduction in yields, or does this signal slower economic growth?
Well, I think what we're seeing is that the bond market is leaning into the concept of the fact that inflation has plummeted so rapidly. I think this is a full inflation story. There's no question that the Fed has showed its cards here. They're very excited about the fact that inflation has come down at its fastest pace outside of World War II, the Korean War, and the Volcker recessions. That is really stunning, given we've not seen a major increase in unemployment with that, and they're feeling good about it. And I think you're going to see some of that euphoria from Chairman Powell as well. It's more than we expected. It is important to remember last time they had a rate hike before the end of the year. So just by removing one rate hike out of it, that puts one more cut into.
All right, so that's basically the time I got, everybody. So to wrap it up, the Fed kept things the same. I've got to get going with Julie. She's ready. But I wanted to come on as the Fed rate hike decision came up. But now we have to pay attention. It swung one way right now. Let's see if we can get past these death cross areas. Notice we've kind of hit a brick wall here with XRP and all the others. Let's make sure, before we get too excited, that XRP, in fact, gets above 623 and holds and starts a reversal here. Otherwise, we could be still in a wide bear flag, and we can actually update, based on the pattern as it goes. Because you're not tied, like I always say, evolve your pattern with the pattern. You're not tied into saying, oh my God, I can't move it because that's how I had it. But just understand, like, we're attempting a breakout here. So let's see if we can get past this major resistance. We're on top of the 200-day here. The 20-day here. And this was a death cross in the making. So now we've got to try to continue to push up with this pressure. Otherwise, we could quickly fall back through. But the main area is right here, where this death cross is going to happen. This standard operating retest at 62 cents, 622. 62 cents would be a normal retest. So make sure you pay attention to it. Let's see if we can get on a run here. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Thank you all so much. Consider subscribing to the channel. I got to go. Hopefully you understand what's going on here. The rate stayed the same, so no rate hike. which is what we anticipated. I didn't think they could lower it, didn't think they would raise it. It stayed the same. So now we got to see if this is a an overzealous overtaking now. We could have a nice overtaking and reversal here. Just got to make sure we don't get like a these are actually could be right shoulders here with the precious metals. I hope it moves up. I hope it moves up. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This is a good sign early. But obviously the DXY dumped. And a lot of times when it does one thing to start, it does the opposite after it gets a quick move one way or the other. So hopefully that's not what's happening here. But I like to see it going up for a minute, at least before I walk out the door. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, Omar, thank you so much. But you'll be able to see me more. My birthday's on Sunday. This Sunday coming up on the 17th will be my 40th birthday. I'll be doing a birthday live at night at some point. Here we go. XRP over 62 cents now. So if you're playing the long game, you should be moving that stop loss up here. You should be moving that stop loss up here. So that 62.1 is what you want to clear. So at some point, you're going to have to look at it in the shorter time frames and be like, we're almost to the 200-day up here. You got to pay attention. Just pay attention. If it was me, that stop loss should not be a in the 4-hourly. If you're riding it up, you're trying to get it to 62 cents at some point. So that can be your floor and that can be your stop loss. And then whatever happens, happens. So if it gets up to like 62.30, you'd be putting that at 62 cents. I appreciate that, Omar. I appreciate that. But yeah, like right now, if you bought it at 603 when we were talking this morning, 616 is where your stop loss should be. And if it breaks below it, you've done your job. So be it. And then as it moves up, you just keep moving it up. And then if you always want to buy back in, because you're talking from a 10x or more perspective, I know, because that's what my audience always talks about. That's why I always have to talk about the shorting or long in the market. But this is where you would want it, though. If you're trying to take advantage of a move, this is how you'd want it. They announced 3 rate cuts in 2024. I mean, they're talking about it, but that's what if they actually do rate cuts. That's what I'm saying. Expect a lot of volatility here, but this could very well start moving to the top side, like we talked about for the last few days. If they do talk about it. There's speculation about it, but we haven't heard Jerome Powell speak. But I guarantee you what you're going to be hearing when Jerome speaks is we're looking at the data. We got to review the data. It's in the data. I'll update you when we get the data. You know, and that's generally what always happens, and it's annoying. But right now, Bitcoin's up 1,000 points. So if you're a speculator and you're like, what's going on here? Bitcoin's breaking back up in the 30-minute. Now its job, as we said, it was going to hit this resistance one way or the other, even if it was bearish. 42,663 is where Bitcoin's gunning for. I think it's pretty obvious to everybody watching. XRP, what we were talking about earlier, it's gunning for that 65 cents. To me, I think that's pretty obvious. That's where it's trying to gun for. So that's where I'm trying to target up there would be the target. That's where I think it's going. Obviously, we'll see a little play here in a couple minutes if that's true, and we'll continue moving in a positive direction. The fact we got over 62 cents gives me some hope here that the market's at least going to go up for that liquidity one way or the other. So if you're a short trader right now, be careful. Be careful. It's already broke out of that descending structure. Now we're having a bullish cross here in the 30-minute. 15-minute, I can almost guarantee, is about the up. It's about to have that golden cross, and it's bouncing off of it right now as support. This is looking pretty strong here right now for XRP, especially with Bitcoin rolling 1,000 points right now to the top side. You could see a nice volatile swing up in a lot of these right now. XRP's behind. Some of these are up 5-7. I knew it. 5%, almost 6% for VeChain, which means ZIL is right behind more than likely. Yeah, look at these. These are starting to bounce. Golden cross in the 15 for ZIL. Ooh, baby. Something's a brewing. Something's a brewing here. Bouncing off the 30-minute for V. Oh, boy, for ZIL. ZIL. If this bounces up right now, off of the 200-day, that's a move. That should get you. That's about a 4.5% move it's about to have. I think a lot of these are looking like that. H bar is working its way back up. H bar should now make that move to the top side. It's doing standard operating procedure right here. It's doing exactly what we wanted. It's done the retest better than anything I could have hoped for. It's doing exactly what we talked about. Now we have to even take it a step higher. Now it's the and or. It's either gonna. It would either break down like. Yeah, there's a lot of them, Mom. Either break down or it'd break out to the top side. Because or it can bounce out now, and you can have the move up, and then if we have enough steam, you could take the downward, and this would be the bullish trajectory. So those are your two angles with H bar. So just pay attention to everything I said. Hopefully XRP can follow Bitcoin's track, and maybe we'll have a little bit of a push up towards 65 today. Nope, interest rate stayed the same, everybody. So I gotta go though. Stay blessed. Julie's waiting on me now. Have a good afternoon, and thank you for